Yo, what is going on, guys? I got a juicer Nightblade build I want to give you. So far, our race will be a Khajiit. The other races I recommend for this build will just be Dark Elf, and Khajiit are definitely the two best races to run. And now with the race, I'll jump into attributes. For our attributes here, we're running all our points into max Magicka, no health or stamina. This will give us 32k max health, 27k max Magicka, and 16,000 max stamina. Our Magic recovery is 1300. With our stamina recovery being 1300 as well. Our spell and weapon damage is 4k, with our spell critical being 42%, and our spell penetration being 4600, with our physical and spell resistance being 16k unbuffed. Our stats fully buffed up will be 5k weapon and spell damage, 30k max Magicka, 35,000 max health, with 19,000 max stamina. Our recoveries are 2,000 mag recovery and 2,000 stamina recovery. The refreshing path out that does go up to 2,200. Our physical and spell resistance will be 25,000. And our crit resistance is 1,300. For our Mundus, we are running the Shadow. This increases our critical damage and healing by 16%. This is very strong on this build since we are a crit build, and I definitely recommend running this over all the other Mundus stones. For our food here, it will be smoked bear haunch. You can run Jewels of Mistral. It is the purple version of this food. I definitely recommend running that if you are more poor and you need to save some cash. Vampire Chase 3 is a must for every PvP build. I would definitely run this no matter what, even though you do get the reduction from sustain. It's too good to pass up from the 30% damage reduction you can get from being under 50% HP, or it scales up to 30% based on your missing health. This passive is super strong and to not be underestimated. Our advanced stats are going to be 5k break feed cost, 3,800 roll dodge cost. Our critical damage is 70%, and our critical healing on the back bar is 40%. Onto our sets now. For our first set here, running Rosca. This gives us all the sustain we will ever need. This basically is like budget retro vitality, better version of Ending Guardian in my opinion. Each stack you are in combat, you gain a stack of dark light up to 30 stacks. Each stack increases your stamina, Magicka, and health recovery by 8. Each second you are out of combat, you lose a stack. This is super strong because it gives us good sustain for our stam and Magicka, which is very welcome on every build. One Piece trainee, of course. Our back bar, we are running Rallying Cry. Rallying Cry is an amazing set. This is what allows us to rock no crit resist, but it also gives us 300 weapon and spell damage. I cannot proc that also in PvP, so that's on top of our weapon damage I showed you earlier. Will be an extra 300, and we are running the frost stats for the extra tankiness it does give, since you can block with it. It reduces all damage while blocking by 36%, or the cost of blocking by 36%, and increases the amount of damage you can block by 20%. This is very good. And then I chose to run powered here. That's just because I prefer powered over defending, but if you want, you can run defending here. It's definitely a personal preference thing. Either one will work just fine. Glyph here, I decided to run Absorb Magicka Enchant for the extra sustain, but you will probably have to run Escapist on this since we have no way to get out of snares reliably. For our main set here, we're all running Axe of the Order's Wrath. We're running 2 axes here for the damage passive Douglas gives us. Increases our critical damage done by 6% per axe, so this goes up to 12%, giving us a bunch of extra crit damage. And I really like Order's Wrath because super flexible and is very easy to get, since the 5 piece is very strong in my opinion. Gives you 4.5% crit and increase your critical damage and critical healing by 8%. This is very good. The 1, 2, 3, and 4 piece are also good. And on top of that, you can make this light, medium, or heavy, so it's very flexible for your build, which I really do like. And then we are running Absorb Magicka Enchant with Nirnhone here, and then charge with another Absorb Magicka Enchant for the extra sustain it gives. You can definitely run Poisons here if you want for more damage, but since I'm not doing that, I just rather run the Restore Magicka Glyphs here for the extra sustain it will give me. We are running Death Dealer's Fate. This is probably the first build I have not run Sea Serpent Coil in a very long time, and that is because you get Major Berserk now on the Nightblade for free. So the fact that you lose Major Berserk makes Sea Serpent Coil not worth it anymore in my opinion, and I'd rather just get the extra max stats Death Dealer Fate gives me instead. So that's the reason why I'm running this. It is an infused reduced cost, by the way. My other two jewelry are infused weapon damage too. And then the reason why I chose to run a reduced Magicka cost glyph is just simply because I prefer the extra sustain it gives me. I like the extra sustain because it allows me to be more offensive and not worry about my resources as much. which I think is very good. It's kind of like the more sustain you have, the more offensive you can be, so the more damage you can deal. That's why I like to reduce Magicka cost here, but your bully lore, you can definitely get away with running another spell damage cliff here instead. So you can run 3 spell damage if you want, but I just prefer the reduced Magicka cost cliff. Our armor pieces here running 2 medium on our boots and hands. They're both divines. Light waist of Rallying Cry divines. Heavy of Orders of Wrath divines. Shoulder and helmet here both divines. And then the chest will be reinforced heavy. So we have 4 heavy, 2 medium, and 1 light. You can definitely run if you're more light here, so you can run light Orders of Wrath, 2 light, and then 2 medium down here, and then 3 heavy. That's another way you can run the build if you want to do that, but either one works just fine. And on to our skills here. For our first skill, it will be Merciless Resolve. It's just nothing much to be said here. Staple of the Nightblade. They did change this, so now you only have to activate it when you use it. You no longer have to activate it to have it up. And then light attack, it will always be up 100% of the time now. I think it's very nice. It just makes one less button to push in your rotation, just makes it easier to use, so it is a little nice change. And then Power Extraction. I like Power Extraction a lot because it gives me major brutality and sorcery, along with Minor Encourage, increasing my weapon and spell damage by 215 for 30 seconds. Not only that, but enemies that are hit with it also gain Minor Cowardice for 10 seconds, reducing their weapon and spell damage by 215. This makes them do less damage to you, and it makes them heal less. So it like reduces their survivability and their overall damage on you, which is very welcome in my opinion. It gives you extra survivability. Shadowy Disguise. This was a very big change this patch in my opinion. Now while slotted on either bar, you gain major profit and 70, increasing your spell and weapon critical rating by 2600. This is very strong since not every Nightblade will basically be running a Shadowy Disguise now. Instead of Expert Hunter here, which only applied to the front bar, but now you get your crit on your back and front bar. This not only increases your survivability immensely because you get that 10% crit rating now for all your heals as well, but you can also cloak, and cloak is always as helpful for survivability. And on top of that, it gives you some max HP here. Dark Figures, you get some more max HP, so you're even tankier on the front bar. Very good in my opinion. Pretty much a must now for every Nightblade to run this. Super good. And then Concealed Weapon, this was another change. When you lose Sneak, Invisibility, or cast Concealed Weapon under the effects of Major Expedition while in combat, gain Major Berserk for 10 seconds, increasing your damage time by 10%. This is why I chose to drop Sea Serpent Coil, because Sea Serpent Coil gives you 430 weapon and spell damage and then Major Berserk. But now Major Berserk is built into Concealed Weapon, and I don't think Sea Serpent Coil is worth running just for the 430 weapon and spell damage and then the snare you get. Death Dealer Fate gives you quite a bit of damage and makes you a lot tankier and gives you a nice big chunk in your stamina pool, so I definitely think this is very good. This will be our flex spot for this build, Mass Hysteria. I really like this ability because it gives you a stun, an AoE CC, and you reduce their weapon and spell damage by 430. This is very strong, so this reduces their overall healing by quite a bit and reduces their damage towards you by quite a bit. So this makes you overall tankier and makes them heal less since they don't have as much weapon and spell damage. Very, very good. Plus it's an AoE fear. Super strong, but that's not even the best part. I really like to use this with combo for my bow. I like to fear into bow a lot. It makes it a lot more guaranteed, and most people after you incap them will think you're gonna bow right after. Don't do that. It's almost never going to hit. A lot of people just panic roll. You want to bait out the roll. While they'll roll, you hit them with the Hysteria bow, and it just almost always hits, and it's super good. So trust me, start doing that combo over the incap bow. You do incaps, concealed into Hysteria, and then bow. Works a lot better in my opinion, and you should definitely start doing it that way. Incap here, I chose to run incap for the extra CC, the extra sustain it gives you. You can definitely run the other more for Major Defile, just personal preference. Either one will work just fine for this build. But it's very strong. They also changed this a bit where now you get the 20% more damage for your attacks for 8 seconds. So you even have a lot bigger window to land the bow. Now this is up for 8 seconds. So just keep that in mind. It's definitely very good. Healthy Offering. I chose this morph because I like the minor mending it gives. You can definitely choose to run the other morph, but the minor mending, in my opinion, it's just too good to pass up. Plus it pairs well with my powered Ice Staff backbar. Elemental here, Major Breach for 30 seconds. It's free, very good. I love free stuff. This is free, got Major Breach, super good. And on top of that, you get a kind of a dot here with every 7.5 seconds. The enemy is afflicted with the Burning, Chilled, and Concussive status effect. That's very good because all the status effects do very good for you. But since the more Nightblades will be running Cloak this patch and you don't want to deal with that, you can definitely choose to run Piercing Mark here instead. but I think Elemental is just too good to pass up. Resolving Vigor, great heal over time, gives you minor resolve, nothing else to be said. Refreshing Path, now if you don't want to run Refreshing Path, you can choose on Rat here, race against time to get the minor force, and then increase movement speed. Refreshing Path gives you too many things in my opinion to pass up. Gives you a nice 1400 heal every second while you're in the area, gives you minor endurance, and minor intellect, increase your stamina and mag recover by 15%. Very good, and it gives you major expedition. I think this is an amazing ability, by the way, so I definitely recommend running this over Race Against Time. And if you choose to run this in open world, you definitely want to run Escapist Potions here instead of the Absorb Magicka. And then Siphoning Attacks here, imbue your weapon with Soul Stealing Power. I love this ability, gives you so much sustain. It's basically like Retro Vitality in one skill for your Magicka. It's just so good. I recommend running this on every Nightblade build. It's just too good to pass up. The sustain it gives you is just too insane. Definitely recommend running this. And then Temporal Guard here just for the minor protection. You run whatever alt you want here. This is a complete flex spot. I just like the minor protection. And if you don't want to run Mass Hysteria, once again, you can just run Shadow Image for more survivability. That's definitely another good option. Or even Phasmal Escape as well, so you can roll more and get major evasion. Those are both two of the skills I would put here if you don't want to run Mass Hysteria. Okay, onto our CP. For our first CP, will be Ironclad, reduces your damage taken by 6%. Fighting Finesse, increase your critical damage and critical healing by 8%. Mastered Arms, increase your damage on direct damage by 6%. And increase your damage done by attacks by 6% as well. You can run this if you want to be a little bit more cheeky with the stealth flank for backstabber and get that 10% critical damage done. But I don't think it's reliable since you have to be flanking and then you also have to crit for this to even proc, but these are always going to be up 100% of the time, and this doesn't require any flanking to be up. And getting the 6% reduced damage taken from all direct damage is so good because all the damage you pretty much take in the game is direct damage, so that's just a flat 6% damage reduction. Sustained by Suffering, Relentless, Pain Refuge, and Survival Instincts are the 4 red CPs I recommend running. This just gives you a lot of extra sustain. Pain Refuge just gives you an insane amount of tankiness for having negative effects on you. And since we are a Nightblade, we have really no way to cleanse these negative effects. So I think this is a must to run just because of how tanky this will actually make you. Relentless gives you major protection for 3 seconds after you CC break. This is very good because most of the damage you will take, or the big burst combo you will take generally, is when you're being CC'd. And this reduces that by 10%, which is very strong in helping your overall survivability by quite a bit. Sustained by Suffering here increases your Magicka and stamina recovery by 150 when there's a negative effect on you. This is very strong because there will always be a negative effect on you once again in PvP, so this will have 100% uptime. And then get all your CP passes as you see fit. And then for the green tree here, I recommend getting Breakfall, Rationer, Liquid Efficiency, and Warmonger Erratic. Alright, I'm just going to showcase on how to run the build here. We're running tripods by the way, so just keep that in mind. Make sure everything is up before you go into a fight. So that would be Siphoning Attacks, Refreshing Path, Vigor, and Elemental should all be on your opponent. You kind of want to dodge in and out of Refreshing Path as you fight. You don't have to sit in it necessarily, you just want to keep going in and out to get the buffs. So you want to start by auto attacking into an Elemental, use the Drain here, and you just want to auto attack, surprise attack until you feel like you have a window. And once you have the window, you use Incapped, go Concealed again, and then they'll try and roll because they think you're going to use Merciless. When they roll, you hit them with the Hysteria, so it looks something like this. With Incap, wait for them to roll, use Hysteria, and then you would just bow them. You have 8 seconds to land your bow for the extra 20% more damage. And a lot of times people will just panic roll, and you can just easily catch them with Hysteria. Or they'll try and block, and you can also use Hysteria once again. And I found that doing it like this is guaranteed a lot more Merciless against my opponent than doing it this Incap into Merciless. I find Incap into Merciless a lot more unreliable, so I definitely recommend doing Incap, just using Concealed. They'll roll or do something, and then you just Hysteria them into the Merciless, and you just continue with the pressure with Concealed weapons. If you guys have any questions regarding the build, I'd be happy to answer anything down in the comments below. And if you guys did find this helpful, it would mean a lot to me to hit that like button and subscribe. And with that, I hope you guys all have a fantastic day.